Is anyone getting nostalgic for the days when it used to freeze? I'm not. Welcome once again. It's Friday. It's here. It's rolled around again, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, namely right here. Cheers, everyone. There's something kind of quite Viking about that, isn't there? Christmas present from the wife, as I might have mentioned. Carlsberg export tonight. Once again, my local Morrison's seems to have mislaid their supply of, the Heineken, the big cans, the proper size cans of Heineken. So, I don't mind, actually. Carlsberg's not a bad drop. Quite a bit to get through tonight. We've got some viewers' guitars, as usual. We've got a really rather, I think, entertaining viewer's tale. You brush with fame, one of those things. And a guitar to unbox. But before we get into any of that, let's see who was first in and who we've got in. Excuse me. Just looking at my readout here, I've got 107 souls on board at the moment. And I see Rent to Kill has reclaimed his crown first in this week. Well done, mate. Then Peter Collins, Cylon Hybrid, David James, Terry Day, my pal there, Craig Stamen. And Mr. Theme Tunes is there. So is Dave Snack Stevens, Boulder 64, Peter Nicholson, and Steve Entwistle. Then we've got Ben Allmark, Dr. Gomez, Sean House, John Ross, John Mack, Johnny Random is there, so is Malcolm Spillett, Edwin Toonan, greetings from Amsterdam. Well, greetings from a rather dismal red car, it has to be said. It's been the kind of weather the last couple of days that my mother-in-law would describe as dreich, which is Scottish for wet and miserable. Although the sun has made a couple of appearances. Who else we got? We got Peter S., Ian Clark, Ian Mason, Frank Bolam, Jimmy James, Paul Trainer, who has very kindly given me a couple of quid in Super Chat. Thank you very much, Paul. Much appreciated, mate. Then we got Sam's Budget Guitars, Nathan, Michael Purcell, Grandpa Joe. What are you saying there, Joe? By the way, if you want to see your message up on screen, make it a longer one, because I find them easier to read if I put up on screen, which is why Joe usually kind of makes it onto the main screen here. Hello, John and Fatcasters. We're a lucky bunch. As long as we wake up on Fridays, drink our favourite brew, be here with friends. We're in a good place mentally and physically. Cheers to all. Well, I'll second that, Joe. Thank you so much for your kind words. There's Anton, Paul Trainer, Johnny D, Jed Ellis is in. So is session guitar legend Gary Shaw. And another one here that's a bit long, so I'm putting it up on screen. Afternoon, John and fellow Fatcasters. My apologies, I won't be able to join you all shortly, but we'll watch on catch up with a beer. Hospital appointment. Oh, he says it's all good though. Well, fingers crossed for you, mate. Whatever it is, get well soon and watch us on catch up. Then we've got I've said Johnny Random, haven't I? Robert Forsyth, Graham Triple X, Ravensmead, Stephen Hedger. Stephen Hedger's been jamming along with the Hamsters again. Never fails to put a big smile on my face. I saw those guys. Gosh, it'll have been in about 1990 the last time I saw them. Are they still going? Is Snail's Pace Slim and the crew still out there? They must be cracking on a little bit. We've got a 60s man and rubbish guitar bloke, Calby and the Rocco Cat, Robert Forsyth, Jimmy James. Austin Barrett is in, so is Chris Otterwell, and Colin Falcon is there as well. Who else have we got? We got Cushman NYC, Doc Alders, and Robin Fawcett. And scrolling down, I can see we've got Cal Texper, Grant Stewart, John Channing, Searching for Tone. Don't forget, Searching for Tone, you are a mod, so you can throw your link in the chat anytime you want. If you're not familiar with his channel, go and check it out. We're going to be looking at some of his guitars later. We've got Jeff Crouch is there, so is Peter Goddard, David Cairns, and Hits Out, Barry Riches is in, and Dave Lewis, Zen234, the Essex Cat, and another local lad, Carl Tom, who's made it for the first time in ages. Yes, you've been conspicuous by your absence, mate. I hope you brought a note explaining yourself. We got Mott the Hoople 2010. Again, let's put you up on screen, mate. Excuse me. Hello, chaps from Barmy Wales, or should that be Barmy Wales? Yes, two different meanings of a very similar word. Still really enjoying your guitar theory sessions, John. Theory definitely helping practice in my case. Thanks. Well, it's nice to know that they are the videos that tend to get the least amount of views. All of my lesson content tends to get like subdued numbers of views, which I could take that personally, but I just, it's, people just aren't into doing homework, I suppose. But, I still enjoy doing them. And I tend to use those kind of tuition videos as more of a calling card than anything else. Does get the email icon tinkling for people contacting me for lessons, so there is some value in doing them, I suppose. Who else have we got? We got yes, Bill Mumbo is in, so is Jeff Benner, Peter Hall, Johnny is in, so is Calagero Avanzato. How are you, mate? Long time no see. My pal Steve Cassidy there, don't forget his video straight after this one. I think you're doing a comparison between a Jet and a Squire, aren't you, mate? Yes. I've got a very similar video to that coming up myself in the next few weeks. It's not Jet and Squire, it's something else and Squire. And there's Mr. Chris as well. Peter Shields is in. So Dave Lewis is saying, John, £17 for 20 cans at Morrison's. Yeah. They have that deal on, but that part of the shelf is empty. Unfortunately, they have the same. They have the same deal on the Carlsberg. It's £11 for one slab of 10. It's £17 for two slabs of 10, or it's £23 for three slabs of 10. So, well, what are you going to do? You've got to go for the three, haven't you? There's Guitar Bass Dude, Jay Aong, Phil Osborne, Dan Hageman, and anyone else that I've missed. Paul Christie and Graham Campbell, and I think that's pretty much everybody. Apologies if I've missed you out. But let's just crack on with telling what's coming up on the channel this week. Yesterday, as you know, I did that sort of. It's over there. I can't be bothered going and getting it. The follow-up video on the TC Electronic Jim's 45 pedal, and well, that is going to feature, I think, if I remember rightly, in Sunday's video as well, where we're basically going to be going through a bunch of different Marshall simulations. Some of them will be hardware-based, like that pedal. Some of them will be software-based. It's not any kind of, can you tell the difference between this, and this kind of thing. It's, it's not that. It's just like, here are the, the different sort of companies' take on creating a Marshall sound. There's some of them are, paid for plugins, and some of them are, kind of ones that you can get for free. So, that's Sunday's video, and it just gave me an excuse to kind of have a little bit of a wallow in Marshall guitar sounds, which is always something that's guaranteed to put a smile on my face. Then on Monday, as viewers, as Patreon members, Tier 2 Patreon supporters will know, every Sunday on Patreon I put up a reaction video. Quite often, well, most of the time these days, suggested by the good folks on Patreon who send me their suggestions. It's only £6 a month, or about $6 a month, whatever it is, $6 or the UK sterling equivalent, and you get extra content on there, and a monthly Zoom hangout with me. Twice monthly Zoom hangout with me and the other Tier 2 supporters. And just a massive thank you to everybody who's supported me on there. Anyway, how does this relate to Monday's video? Well, one of the videos that I did a reaction to is a song called Say It Ain't So by an artist I've never heard of until this suggestion came in, a chap called Noah Dirksen. Great sort of bluesy Americana singer-songwriter, and I have no idea, not a single clue, not a scintilla of a clue about who plays guitar in Mr. Noah Dirkson's band, but whoever he is, he's got quite a tasty turn of phrase on the instrument. So I decided to put one of his solos under the microscope, namely the one from the song Say It Ain't So. So that's going to be Monday's video. Tuesday is, as always, a top 5 video, not music related this time. It's been a while since I've done a top 5 Tuesday video that isn't music related, and I thought I'd throw this one in. It is, however, YouTube related. I'm basically going to be talking about my 5 favourite either channels or individual videos that aren't music related. So you know, when, as we all do, you know, we sit there and waste a bit of time on, you know, when we should be getting on with some work, you know, when we're skiving and we put YouTube on, you'll kind of get an idea of the sort of thing that I watch. Then on Wednesday, it's all about the riffs. It's all about how you can take an idea from a classic riff, in my case, Smoke on the Water, and reuse it and make it your own and come up with another riff that will, you know, kind of not sound anything like the riff that you are learning from or that you are borrowing from, but it will still contain some of those attributes. I'm quite proud of that because I managed to make an entire video based upon the riff from Smoke on the Water without ever once playing the riff from Smoke on the Water, because, you know, that would have been instant demonetization. So, you know, I managed to, I think, to just, well, it's been uploaded for a while and it's sailed through the copyright. You know, it didn't annoy the copyright wombles. So, you know, that one's basically a lesson on how to write riffs. Then on Thursday, much like tonight, we're going to be doing, I've got a box over here to kind of get the guitar out of very shortly. But on Thursday, I've also got another guitar unboxing, and you might recall that, oh gosh, months ago, sometime last year, I did a video on 5 guitars that are giving me serious gas. Not aspirational guitars, not guitars that you think, oh, one day I'd love to have one of those, but, you know, things that are attainable, things that, you know, are pretty much within the reach of most people. And one of those was the PRS SE-CE24, which I now have. And there was another guitar on that list that was giving me a serious case of, you know, I want one of those. And, well, I finally got my hands on one. It's a guitar I've been curious about for nearly 30 years. And I finally got my hands on one, and you're going to see me unboxing it on Thursday. There's a certain gentleman in the chat, Mr. Spillett, who knows exactly which guitar I'm talking about. But please don't spill the beans. Spoiler alert. Anyway, after that marathon, I need another bit of lubrication. And there we go. We're back in the room. Let's just have a look, see what I've missed in the chat. David Cairns is saying, do music stores pay VAT on stuff that they resell that you've traded in? I don't know, mate. I don't know. That would be a good question to put to someone who owns a guitar shop. Phil Osborne is saying, great shirt, do you sell merch? Yes, I do. If you go to johnrobsonmusic.co.uk, that link is in all of my, there's a dog barking out there to put me off, sorry. And there it goes again. If you go to my website, johnrobsonmusic.co.uk, and go to the gift shop there, you can find this fine shirt here, amongst many others. I will just say that I will apologise in advance for the ridiculous pricing. That is nothing to do with me. These are print-on-demand shirts supplied by Spring, who used to be Teespring, and you know, I see a vanishingly small amount of money from the price that is listed on the website, and you know, there are certain you know, kind of parameters, like you can't set the price below this and you can't set it above that. So I will apologise. They are a bit pricey, is what I'm trying to say, and it's not my fault. That's the nub of it. What else have I missed? Anything? Oh, Craig Stamen saying, I enjoyed your video the other day, John, on my favourite scale, the harmonic minor. I probably use it a bit too much. It is an addictive one, isn't it? Once you get into that sort of snake charmer kind of sound, it's one that you find yourself just falling into. Stephen Hedges saying, I'm afraid the Hamsters retired a few years ago. They sadly missed one of the best live bands ever. Yeah, they were absolutely fantastic. I saw them a couple of times and bought CDs that they made. And yeah, they were never quite the same when you were hearing a studio recording. It just, you needed to be there. Very much a good night out if you went to go and see them. Anyway, where are we? We're coming up to 17 minutes in. Shall we get the unboxing out of the way? I think we should. So you'll just have to imagine that the speeded up footage and the kind of toe tapping rockabilly tune that usually accompanies this part of a video. They're probably. I've just got to find out where the flap is so I can. No, that's not the right side. This must be the right side then. So let's just run the knife along here. Yes, you can always tell when it's a guitar that's been sent by someone other than a shop, can't you? Because no guitar retailer ever packages these things up, packages guitars up this one. I use absolutely yards and yards and yards of this stuff, black gaffer tape, when I send a parcel. Right, okay, so we've got some wire wool in here. Interesting. And lots and lots and lots of bubble wrap. Again, Andertons or GAC never package a guitar up this well. Let's get all the bubbly wrap out. And there's the wedge box. So, what we got in here then? Well, is the name on the box any kind of clue? It might be. It might well be. Okay, so the tape on here. Oh no, there's the tape. Let's have a wee look. And lovely little note in here. I will read that out momentarily. And we've got a little package here with Allen keys and a whammy bar. And let's get this rubber band off. Throw this over here. Oh, what we've got here. Another little package in here. What's in here? A CD, Gary Moore, Grinding Stone. I already have this album, but thank you so much. That's the Gary Moore Band, Grinding Stone. I think that was possibly his first ever album. Great track on there called Boogie My Way Back Home. I think it was just after he'd left, what was the band? Skid Row, the original Skid Row, not the kind of 80s Sebastian Bach band. Anyway, shall we have a little bit of a look at this guitar? There's the headstock. Here we go. Yes, so you can probably see there is a vintage logo on there. And what we got? This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is a vintage V6 reissued. This comes from a chap called Jim, who recently, very recently in fact, sent me this rather lovely guitar, this vintage V75. And why did he send me it? Because he's a very generous chap who likes my YouTube videos and likes my channel, and this is his way of saying thank you. Well, you know, I mean, nothing I can say will be adequate, really, but I will say it anyway. Thank you, Jim. If you remember, he sent me one of these just before Christmas, and let's just say that it didn't reach its intended destination. It got lost in the system, as in probably in the backseat of someone's car that worked at a postal depot and decided that they were going to kind of treat themselves to a new guitar for Christmas. So Jim has been and got me another one. Jim, I mean, this is such a lovely gesture, Jim. I mean, it's, you know, we all work hard and you know, we all work hard for our money, and, you know, and the fact that you've spent some of your hard-earned brass on buying me guitars just to send them to me because you've never met me and you just like what I do on YouTube. I can't tell you just how amazingly touching that is. It's words don't often fail me, but it's on the verge of happening right now. What a beautiful guitar. And this brings back a lot of memories for me, because my gigging guitar throughout all of the 90s and the early 2000s was a Fender Japanese 60s reissue Strat in this very colour. You know, close your eyes and it could be my old half close your eyes and it could be my old Strat. So yeah, I'm absolutely blown away by this. It's no secret that I'm not the world's biggest fan of Stratocaster style guitars, but maybe this one will kind of change up that a little bit. It's certainly a gift I will treasure, and I will always just look at it and think of what a generous chap you are, Jim. Thank you so much. Shall we read Jim's little note that he sent? Here we go. Oh, it's a bit long. I'll try and rattle through it. Hi, John. This is my second attempt at sending another vintage V6 in Laguna Blue with the hope that you'll receive it this time. The main reason I sent the first one was in appreciation of your still excellent guitar skill just over a year since sustaining your terrible finger injury when you weren't even sure if you'd be able to play guitar again. However, through grit and determination, thankfully you succeeded by basically having to use your little finger in place of your ring finger in a lot of the chords when playing solos. Also, so well done you, John, because if it had been me, I think I'd have given up, to be honest. If you do receive the guitar, it will be company for your V75, which you've already seen. When I got the V6, John, the fretboard was a little bit dry, so I removed the original strings, oiled the fretboard, and restrung it with a set of your favourite Ernie Ball Super Slinky 942. I've tried to set the action as low as possible without fret buzzing, but I think it's still a bit high, and I think the nut is maybe a tad low, judging by the third fret test. But you certainly know a lot better than me, John. I've enclosed some fine, medium, and coarse steel wool if you ever need to degloss a neck which is too sticky. I deglossed the neck on your V75 when I sent it, but it didn't do so on the V6, just in case you wanted to leave it as is. I always use the fine steel wool as I find it does a nice job. I've also enclosed Gary Moore's first CD, which is basically his first attempt as a solo artist under the name of Gary Moore band name. Yes, we've seen that. I found it took me a while to get into, but the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. The band's drummer, Pierce Kelly was from my hometown of Dungannon, and Pierce and I used to meet up after school and go for a coffee and is that a smoke? Yes, and talk. It was different times then, wasn't it? And talk about drums and bands, etc. Pierce was about a year and a half older than me, and sadly died on the 5th of October 2023. I'm aware, John, but before I start getting too emotional, I hope the guitar arrives this time. All the best, Jim. Jim, you are an absolute gentleman, sir. This is going to get featured in, well, obviously, a first impressions video and then a full review video. Then, let's do a comparison with a Squier Strat on the back wall there. From memory, I think these guitars are about the same sort of prices as those Squier Classic Vibes, and, handy little kind of shootout to do. So, thank you so much, Jim. That is an absolutely stunning gesture. I'll stop gushing about it now because I don't want to embarrass you, but, thanks, mate. It really is appreciated. It really does kind of reaffirm your faith in humanity that there are people like Jim out there, doesn't it? Anyway, let's... oh, dear, I buried my beer under bubble wrap. Now, let's get another beer on the go. And then I'll catch up with a chat because I've been blethering, and then we'll head off over to the gallery and have a look at some viewers' guitars, pictures of which have been sent in this week. By the way, just on that score, if you're going to send me some pictures, it makes my life just that little bit easier if you don't send in pictures in the HEIC format. It's not a format I've ever experienced before, but I had a right bother opening them. They opened when I was looking at them as email attachments in Gmail, but when I downloaded them to kind of do like the sort of in the Windows photo app, they wouldn't open in that for love nor money. Let's just have a quick look in the chat and a swig of beer. A lot of love here for Jim. Deservedly so. Malcolm Spillett is saying, how many guitars do you have now, John? I'll tell you what, I need to add this one to the list, and I've got a little list on my phone here. So, where is it? My guitars. Let's put this on here. Vintage V6 Strat copy. Right there, the list is now updated. So, here are my guitars. Gibson Les Paul Tribute, Harley Benton Dreadnought guitar, Harley Benton Dreadnought guitar in Nashville tuning, Fender Nashville Telecaster, Harley Benton CST 24 with P90s, a Court Action PJ bass, the Frankenstein Telecaster, a custom-built twin humbucker offset made by another viewer of this channel. Built it for me, very generous chap called Pete. The Faisley Outlaw Coyote Plus, the much-modded Jet JT350, the PRS SE CE24, the Squier Classic Vibe 50 Stratocaster, the vintage V75 Telecaster copy, and now the vintage V6 Strat copy. Those are my guitars. And what a lucky boy I am. It's funny though, the harder that I work, the more lucky I seem to get. That's an old saying my dad used to have, by the way. Searching for Tony's, I'm one away from the perfect amount always. What's talking about my guitars? Let's go to the relevant folder on here. So it's in there, and it's in there. Viewers guitar picks, and we'll open this one up, and then I just need to come back and go screeny sharey like this. Share screen, and there it is. So this one comes from Grant Stewart. This is his 1977 Music Man Sabre, which sports Gibson pickups. That's that particular design there. It manages to look both retro and timeless at the same time. I think it's there's just something really classy about that. And yeah. No, I don't need another guitar. Let's have a look, see what's next. Another one from Grant. This is his parts caster, which, as you can see, what happened was a Telecaster and a Stratocaster loved each other very much and hugged in a special way, and the little baby guitar was born. And this is it. This is, what would you call this, a Tele-Strat? A Strat Tele. It's the ultimate Strat for people who like Telecasters. Like in the inlays, has to be said. Don't normally like fancy inlays, but they look just a little bit special. This is Ian Cochran, his pedal board. We've seen a couple of Ian's pedal boards in the past, and what we've got here, we've got a tuner press. Is that? I would have thought that was a volume pedal. Max ODR1, Tumnus, Noble's ODR1, or Max. What is that Max pedal there? It's I can't read the writing. It looks like it's. Yeah, that's a compressor, isn't it? Obviously, anything which says ratio on it's a compressor. And we've got a Noble's ODR1, Tumnus, Enigmatic. What is the Enigmatic? That's another overdrive. And we've got Wampler Catacombs, obviously a reverb, and of course the Line 6 HX Stomp. I would get lost on that pedal board, to be honest with you. I had Steve Cassidy uses the HX Stomp, and it's just I wouldn't know where to. Well, I'd know where to begin, but I wouldn't know where to end when it comes to that sort of thing. I hate faffing around with menus and touch screens and stuff like that. I'm a dinosaur in that regard. But if it floats your boat, mate, then crack on. We've got Ian Mason's Charvel Pro Mod San Dimas in. A rather, I don't know. That finish is. It's either a kind of love it or hate it finish. I quite kind of like that sort of blackened, sandblasted look. I wouldn't choose the Floyd though, but it's got sort of an 80s vibe going on, I suppose. This is much more my kind of thing. Ian Mason Epiphone Les Paul Prophecy. Are these the ones with the? Yeah, you can just about see there. They've got the. Excuse me, coughing fit. Fishman pickups. I'll try and keep my coughing under control. I need another vape. That's what I need to do. Ian Mason's another one of his guitars. Sire Larry Carlton H7. Used to own one of those. Loved it. And then just found I wasn't really playing it very much. It wasn't earning its keep, so off it went. And that sort of made me realise that, that was probably it's a 335 style guitar that Larry Carlton himself plays. So you're going to struggle to get much better than that. And if that's a fine example of the breed, and I didn't find myself playing it very often, then yeah, perhaps I'm just not into thin line semi-acoustics. Excuse me. And Len McIver's Dano 12-string, which, if you need a 12-string electric, and, I think he said in the email, this is, it covers everything a Rickenbacker can do for like a fraction of the price. Never really gassed for a 12-string, it has to be said, but I don't know. Things can change, I suppose. Mr. Chris's Benson S-Type, as we know. A Benson S-Type, yes, shitcaster. I think that says it all, doesn't it, really? One of my students used to have a Benson Les Paul copy years ago, and it was not a noble guitar in any sense of the imagination. It was just a bit, kind of, you could see where every penny had been saved when it was being built. It definitely felt built down to a price. But Mr. Chris has got this one here, and I think the name that he gives it says it all, really. Another Mr. Chris one. This is his Harley Benton SG. And from the look of it, this is an old one as well, because the logo and the headstock shape have changed massively in recent years. So, yeah. What we got next? Pete's Vintage VIF V62 Icon. These vintage guitars, they are absolutely stonking guitars. Great for the money. Not just great for the money, but great guitars, full stop. And it seems Pete agrees with me. He always frames his pictures really nicely, Pete. It's just, I think Pete is, he's quite the artistic type. It's, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's too many other Petes, but Pete is the guy who did the little caricature of me that you see in all my video thumbnails and everything. So he obviously knows about composing a picture, and it shows in the way he frames his guitars. Then, searching for tone. You may recall that last week we saw some guitar boxes with guitar names plastered all over the boxes, what was inside them, and he said back then he was going to do an unboxing thing, and he'd send me the before and after. Well, last week was the before, and this is the after. We've got a PRS SE Custom 24. We've got a Leo James Monsoon. Never played a Leo James guitar, but I've heard good reports about them. A Player 2 Strat and a Gretsch G2622 Streamliner guitar. Fine looking brood there, mate. Nice guitars. Thanks for sharing. And there you go. That's your lot for this week's guitar readers, guitars, readers, wives, viewers, guitars, whatever it's getting called. Excuse me. Let's have a look and see what I've missed in the chat. Who Junior is saying, John, should I spend my £75 on the electricity bill or the Blues Guitar Bible? If it depends, right? If it's it's cold outside, isn't it? So spend it on the electricity bill. If you'd asked me that in August or July or something, and I said no, buy the book. Yeah, Froggy went to courting. Yes, thank you. Bob Fleming, yes. Now there's someone who remembers the Fast Show. What are you saying there? By the way, John, says Malcolm, the Fender Lager I got for Christmas was okay, brewed in Scotland, so possibly Tennant's. Quite possibly, mate. There's it'll probably come out of some interbrew vat of something into some branded cans. What else have I missed? A lot of people saying Bob Fleming. Bob Fleming was a comedy character on a British TV show in the 90s called The Fast Show, and it was very much a send-up of a chap who was on TV in the 70s called Jack Hargreaves. It was all about how to kind of create flies for your fly fishing and all that kind of outdoor gentlemanly outdoor pursuits kind of thing. And yes, and Bob Fleming's shtick was that he could never get through an episode of anything without dissolving into a coughing fit. Frank Brady is saying, good evening, John. What an amazing gesture from Jim, and that Gary Moore connection as well. Just incredible. It is. That's almost like the Brush with Fame kind of story, isn't it? But we've got one of those coming up. Let's get to that right now. Boulder 64. Wait, what? Your electricity bill is only £75. Send me your secret, and I'll buy you the Bible. Yes, I did think that myself at the time. Anton is saying, talking of books, when is your third book on sale? Right, I'll just explain this. The Blues Guitar Bible, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, those are the two books that are on sale. Links in all of my YouTube videos. I need to get in touch with the guy who looks after my website and get them up on there as well, actually. The third book is written, it's done, it's proofread and everything. But because of, Christmas, I got a bit behind on my YouTube content. I like to have a month's worth of YouTube content lined up, uploaded, scheduled to go live, all the tabs done and everything, and I'm a little way off that at the moment. There's still about 3 weeks worth of stuff up there. So what I need to do is I need to kind of beaver away and work even longer hours than I normally do and get the YouTube thing caught up with. Then I can take a week or 10 days off from doing lessons and YouTube content without there being a break in the YouTube cycle, and then just knuckle down and do all of the music and tabs and stuff and video content that accompany the book. I'm going to say springtime is when it's likely to be ready to kind of hit the shelves, if a digital product can hit the shelves. To hit the digital shelf, shall we say. So that'll be when that comes out. Anyway, this is this week's little viewers' brush with fame. So if you have any of these kind of stories where you've run into someone famous and they were an absolute gentleman, or even better, if you've run into someone famous and they were an absolute arsehole, then I want to know about it. Anything you like. It doesn't even have to be 100% true, as long as it's entertaining. Tell me about your stories where you've met someone famous or some kind of fame connection, and it'll get read out on the show. Usual email address to send these to, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. That's where to send them. Same address for the guitar pictures as well. Keep those coming as well. And, who knows? It just kind of livens up the live stream, doesn't it? Anyway, this comes from a chap called, let me just check, Graham, and he says, "Hi, John. I have a true story for you to read out during your Friday live stream for the Brush with Fame spot. I'm of an age now where I've joined the U3A. I'm not sure what that is. Basically a club for old gits like me. I was prompted to join because they have a fortnightly guitar group in my local village hall near Wantage. The idea is that the group leader introduces a song which the group learns together and then plays and sings along to. Although the songs are not to my taste, think 1940s to 60s tunes, I wanted to play with other guitarists to improve my skills, so I tolerated the song choices. Bear in mind that I'm the youngest there at 64 and most players are in the late 70s or 80s. Anyway, the U3A also holds fortnightly talks with an invited speaker. Shortly after joining, I saw a flyer advertising a talk entitled Music Satire Through the Ages by Peter Gill. Now, the flyer had a few words about the speaker, saying that he was formerly the drummer with Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Well, I thought, I must go along to hear this talk and say hi. I dutifully found my LP of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome to take along for the talk and for Peter to sign. So far, so good. The day of the talk arrived and I sat down in the hall, clutching my LP, waiting for the talk to start. I saw a man at the front in his 60s with short grey hair talking to the U3A chairman, and I assumed this was Peter. When Peter was alone, I took the opportunity to go over and say hi and to get a photo and have my LP signed. I joked that Peter looked completely different to how I last saw him on Top of the Pops, with that classic 80s curly perm. I think I remember the guy, actually. I handed him my LP and Peter smiled and said, "That's not me." I looked at him quizzically, taking his comment to mean that it was an age gone by in a former life, that kind of thing. But then he said, "No, really, that's not me." It turns out his name was Peter Gill, but it looked like some old codger at a U3A had Googled the name and cut and pasted the first hit he got into the flyer. Of course, it was the wrong Peter Gill and not the drummer. This one was the pianist and vocalist and actor. We both laughed, and he even cheekily offered to sign my LP, which I politely declined. So not quite a brush with fame. Peter's talk was very interesting, by the way. Cheers, Graham. That's like a mistaken identity kind of thing, isn't it? It's like there was quite a famous darts champion in the 70s and 80s in the UK called Jockey Wilson. Anyone remember Jockey? And if you know that name, then you probably know the story I'm going to tell now. On Top of the Pops, Dexy's Midnight Runners were performing or miming or lip-syncing, whatever you want to call it, to their current hit, Jockey Wilson Says. And the hapless technician at the BBC had got the wrong picture from the photo archive and projected on the big screen behind Dexy's Midnight Runners as they were singing Jockey Wilson Says. They projected a picture of Jockey Wilson, the kind of rather rotund, beery-grinned, cigarette-smoking darts champion. And I've heard two different versions of that story. It was either a tongue-in-cheek prank that someone was playing, or it was a genuine mistake. Different versions of that story have different explanations, but it definitely happened. You'll probably find it on YouTube. Just Google Dexy's Midnight Runners, Jockey Wilson, and you'll see it. Let's get back into the chat, see what I've been missing. Apologies if you've been kind of shouting me in the chat and stuff. You know, I do miss a lot of what goes on there, just to try and sort of show pictures of guitars, read stuff out like that. I'm just going to have another beer as well, actually. Oh, there we go. So what have I been missing? A lot of people just... Ravens Media saying, out of town, it's on Talking Pictures TV again. Yes, that was the Jack Hargreaves show, wasn't it? You've got to be of a certain age to remember that one. I think the chat is mainly consisting of you good chaps having a natter amongst yourselves, which feel free to do so. It's just a nice thing to do on a Friday, isn't it? Beer and chat on a Friday, as I say in all the videos. So yes, what was I going to talk about? It's, you know when your mind just goes blank. Grinding Stone, the Gary Moore album. I've never had this on CD. It's one of the few albums that never kind of made it onto the CD. Library that I had it on vinyl, and of course, what you used to do when you had a vinyl album was copy it onto cassette. So I had it on cassette, and then, the cassette got chewed, and I can't remember, I mislaid the vinyl version, so I bought it again on cassette, like a legit copy on cassette, and then it just kind of got lost somewhere, not lost that the cassette didn't get lost, but when I kind of graduated onto CDs, this album probably wasn't available at the time, I think, something like that. It's a long time ago, 30 odd years ago, the early 90s, when we went to CDs. And then I sort of discovered it again when the MP3 era came along, and that's my current incarnation of the album. But it is nice to have the artwork and everything. And thank you. I'm as pleased with the CD as I am with the wonderful guitar. Thank you. Much appreciated, Jim. Anyway, yes, it is a great album. Final track on the album, I always remember being my favourite, Boogie My Way Back Home. We've got 6 tracks on the album: Grinding Stone, Time to Heal, Sail Across the Mountain, the Energy Dance, Spirit, and as I say, Boogie My Way Back Home. Fantastic album. I'm going to be listening to that tomorrow in between lessons. Yes, Ian Clark saying C90 and a Bic. That you've got to be of a certain age to remember that reference, to understand that reference. Do I need to explain it? A Bic ballpoint pen put into the spindle of a cassette, and you kind of spin it round like that to either rewind or fast forward because you didn't want to waste your Walkman batteries on rewinding. Boulder 64 saying, lovely colour combination, Daphne blue, white and rosewood. Yeah, I think vintage call that colour Laguna blue, and Fender call it Sonic blue. I'm not sure what is Daphne blue. That might be it, actually. I do know that when I had a Strat this colour, the drummer in the band I was in, he always used to refer to it as fabric conditioner blue or Lenore blue, because it does have that sort of fabric conditioner colour about it. I'm looking at it on screen here, and it looks a lot greyer on screen than it does in real life. But yeah, you'll see it in videos. I'll be filming it on my better camera. A lot of people have asked me, like, why don't I use this camera, which is the one I film all the solo and performance stuff on, to do the entire video in. And there's a very good reason. It's because it's an absolute nightmare aligning audio with that camera. With that camera, when I record, like, the sort of hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition, I do it on this webcam, and I've got to save time where I can. I can't sync the audio on that for boring, technical, complicated reasons. Syncing the audio that I'm recording on this mic with the video from that camera is a bit of a laborious process. But I am looking at upgrading to, because this is a 1080p webcam, I am looking at upgrading it to 4K webcam. That is something I'm probably going to get into over the next 12 months, is just starting to do all my videos in 4K, which means I'll probably need a beefier PC to process it all on. What are you saying there, Boulder? I can see you'll do a classic vibe versus vintage, then off the Squire because you're a loyal bloke. Yeah, stranger things have happened. It's the reason why I bought the Squire rather than a Jet or a Vintage or a Harley Benton is because I want it to be I want to be able to legitimately refer to a Strat, my benchmark Strat guitar as a Strat, because you can imagine I'm doing some guitar comparison in a video and I'll say, and now let's see how it compares to a Strat. And I pick this guitar up. Oh boy, the keyboard warriors are going to be out in force, aren't they? The people that love to type with the caps lock key on, they're going to be in the comments going, that's not a real Strat, and I could just do without I could just do without them, to be honest with you. So that's why I bought something that does have the word Stratocaster on it. But yes, there will definitely be a comparison between the two guitars. Interesting to see if, I've got a maple-necked Strat back there, or a maple fretboard Strat and a rosewood fretboard Strat. Maybe some kind of thing where I take the pickups out of one guitar, put them into the other, and see if we can, if the fretboard material does make any difference to the recorded tone. Where are we? Dave Lewis is saying, I can highly recommend the two latest Behringer pedals, 69 Vibe and Bass Brassmaster. Yes, I just got an email. Well, I opened the email today actually, from one of my regular correspondents, whose equipment you've regularly seen on the live stream in the viewers guitar slot, where he's crowing about the fantastic sound he's getting from his Behringer 69 vibe. He describes it as just kind of absolutely nailing the bridge of size tone. Jay Aong is saying, for heaven's sake, a Strat is a Strat by any other name. I tend to agree with that. I'll be honest with you. It's I don't know if this is a particularly British thing, but whatever brand of vacuum cleaner you've got, you always refer to it as a Hoover. Whatever brand of ballpoint pen you happen to have, you always refer to it as a biro. We tend to use a particular, like a leading brand name that's famous for making a particular product as the generic term for all kind of brands of that product. So to me, I look at this and I think, well, yeah, it's a Strat, but I do notice whenever I refer to a guitar that isn't an actual Fender product as a Strat or a Telecaster or a Les Paul in terms of Gibson, when I tend to use that terminology in videos, it does, as I say, bring out the caps lock keyboard warrior brigade, who love to sort of pounce on me and tell me that I know nothing and that I'm fat and I talk rubbish and I've got a bald head and all you like I don't know. Okay. Anyway, okay, Calby is saying tissue in Canada is Kleenex. Tannoy says Steve Cassidy. Knopfler went to Sir. Well, he went to Rudy Pencer, who John Sir was working for or working in partnership with at the time. And then when they split, Mark Knopfler stayed with Rudy Pencer. It's you can still buy Pencer guitars. But John Sir has nothing to do with them now. The original, that sort of that kind of lovely quilted maple super Strat with EMG pickups, and for bizarre reasons, a Floyd Rose tremolo, which isn't something you associate with Mark Knopfler. That was actually a Pencer Sir guitar. Yes, Xerox machine, Durex, says Mr. Chris. My knees hurt says getting troll negative comments means you've made it in YouTube land. I had 357 subs and never got a negative comment. Imagine my sadness. Yep, it is that, at the end of the day, I'm not the kind of person who loses sleep over somebody telling me off in the comment section, but I do think that possibly they have a point when I'm referring to a Strat as a non-Fender guitar as a Strat. So that's why I bought the Classic Vibe. That's where we're at. Anyway, chaps, I'm running out of things to say, and it's time to go head on over to Steve Cassidy's channel to watch his guitar comparison, and more importantly, it's time for me to go downstairs and put the curry on the stove because I'm starting to get hungry. So we'll wrap it up there for this week. Thank you once again for everyone. Thank you to Jim for the incredibly generous gift, and thank you to all of you for watching and listening to a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute bollocks for an hour, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.